to start.
All right, well, we're going to continue our panel discussion here, and this next segment is actually talking about, so you've heard a little bit about our program, and now we're going to talk about what we have named our Heritage Educational License Program, HELP for short, also known as our affiliate program. And our first affiliate was launched back in 2005. I believe that's right, Gary, you can correct me, with actually a church in South Korea. So we started with international affiliates, and these programs developed by people who were interested in using the WCFS system. They said, hey, we really like that system. We would like to implement that for what we're doing over here. So because of some contacts that Gary had in South Korea, there was a church there that wanted to start using it. So we launched our first affiliate in 2005. And then a couple years later, we had a second affiliate start in South Korea. And then we had a third affiliate start in the Philippines. And then we finally got an American to actually buy into our program. And she's here with us. So Susie, so good to have you. To give us just a little bit of your background and how you ended up doing what you're doing.
Okay, so briefly, I am also a former public educator. I worked for 5 years in Anne Arundel County as a teacher. I started homeschooling my first in kindergarten, and our goal became K through 12 with all three of our children. I'd always known about Walkersville. At the time it was Walkersville, and I figured we would join Walkersville as a family when my oldest hit 8th grade. But at the time, our church actually had a non-public school. They were operating a Christian school out of the church that offered a private school issue diploma. So we enrolled with them through their homeschool oversight program. And after a few years, I started working with their homeschool oversight program. In the last 3 years that our church had a Christian school, I was running the oversight program with all of our homeschoolers. So we had, at that time, about 50 families that were homeschooling. And then the church school closed because of enrollment issues and budget issues, and it was after the recession, so it was just hard to keep Christian schools afloat. I actually just contacted other Christian schools to place my high schoolers so they could finish their diplomas, and Walkersville was Walkersville at the time, was one of the places that I had contacted. And Gary called and said we were just what he was looking for, which I thought, just take all my families, it's okay, we're shutting down anyway. And over the course of a few very long meetings, we became the first local affiliate. And that was 4 years ago.
It was 4 years ago. And how many families do you have?
I currently have 37 families. That fluctuates from year to year.
How has, let me ask it this way. I guess in some ways, practically speaking, you were able to keep the program going, so that was a good thing. But practically, how has the WCFS system or structure been helpful to your continued vision for education?
Okay, so practically, my families were enrolled in our former church school because they wanted a non-public school-issued diploma, which is different than a parent-issued diploma in the state of Maryland, and it's different than just receiving your oversight through the county. So when the school closed, we were in panic mode because I couldn't offer that to my families. The church was willing to continue with a church umbrella, but those would be parent-issued diplomas and transcripts. And to be honest, it's not what I was looking to do either. So Wellspring has enabled us to continue to offer a non-public school program, especially at the high school level. We have been able to work within the Wellspring program very easily. I already had mechanisms of grade reports and doing our reviews and all of those things in place, so it allowed me to continue. I have adopted the paperwork that they already have established that I did not have established, but I have also continued to use the paperwork and the mechanisms that work for me, and that fits very well within the overall Wellspring program.
So I know, Susie, we've talked, over the last year since I've been on staff, and we know this job is not an easy job. There are a lot of difficulties. There are challenges, but you just graduated another crop. I think it was another six graduates. Just this past May. And what would you say is the most rewarding thing about being in this position of working with families in this kind of situation?
Okay, so I love working with my families. I love working with my moms. Some of my moms are lifers. They start at kindergarten and we graduate their kids through at the end of 12th grade. Some of my moms, our program it's different. I love that I've been able to keep the flavor of Westminster. I joke with Gary all the time that we've been an affiliate for 4 years and I haven't pulled his program under the water with me, so that's a good thing. But graduation is amazing because we are walking young people across the stage that have a diploma that is recognized. This year's graduating class was unique. I had 6 and only 4 participated on stage, which was fine. But they were the 4 that God wanted to be there. Of those 4, one was a Ukrainian adopted student who's only been in the country for 4 years. So working with that mom, we got her to learn and understand English. We got her through 4 years of high school on an English as a second language program, which was amazing. One of my students had learning disabilities. He graduated. He graduated with a full transcript. He's going to community college in the fall. One of my students has been through a really tough time, and mom started homeschooling only 2 years ago. It was amazing to walk through that program and hold their hands the whole way through. Perhaps my best success story this year of my onstage graduates, she had left her adopted family, sort of spiraling in her own direction, and found herself pregnant at the beginning of this school year. We brought her back into the program. She was determined to get her diploma. She finished all of her credits. She graduated a month after her baby was born, and what an amazing story of grace and redemption, because she finished. She didn't simply get her GED. She didn't stop. That's an example that she has for her little girl that we can never take away. And then my other 2 students have already been accepted into 4-year programs with sizable scholarships to start for next year. And they are their own success stories. But I love working with my moms. I love that one-on-one interaction. I love guiding them through the process. I love helping them find curriculum that fits their children best.
Thank you so much, Susie. I just listening is just a reminder of what Gary has been talking about, the idea of community, about Christian community, the local church being involved, and our whole approach here, as you can see, is very holistic. Academics is certainly a part of it. Becky's been able to share with us about championship education, but undergirding that is a philosophy of equipping and strengthening families. That we haven't talked about it a lot so far today, but the motto for WCFS is Treasuring God's Design for the Family. And that's really our goal, is to come alongside and help families. And Susie, you're doing that in Westminster, so thanks so much. We're going to close out our panel discussion just talking a little more about some of the particulars of our program. Real quickly, I'll give you a little overview basically of how WCFS works structurally through a year. That system is essentially what an affiliate will use. The great thing about our program is that it is a structure, which means that it's much like a house, where we give you the structural specifics, and then you can put whatever you want, and you can decorate it however you want. You can paint it whatever you want. So there's a lot of flexibility within that structure. And if you look at the different affiliates that we have, they're very different in terms of the people involved and background and so on, but they're all successfully using that program. So basically, structurally, we have our school year runs essentially from August through July, although more technically, I guess, we really wrap up more in June. But we kick off our school year in August. Actually, in your folders, you'll have a little flyer there for what we call our Family Leadership Conference, and that's one of two of our annual. Is that right? Doesn't make sense. We have two conferences every year that parents are required to attend. Parents in our program are required to attend, and that's either through live stream or coming in and attending directly. Anyway, so we start our first conference is a Family Leadership Conference in August. We have that in a what we would kind of call a family camp type setting. It's up in Pennsylvania, Roxbury camp. So it's a relaxed atmosphere. We have one day where we have sessions that are required for families in the program, and we also do extend that, though. Usually we start from Friday and go through Sunday, and this year we're actually extending it a little bit. We're actually starting on Thursday and continuing to Sunday to give opportunity for those who are interested in, especially the affiliate program, to get some more information on that. So anyway, we start in August, have our first conference. Families after that are required to send in a course registration. They're giving us an idea of what they're going to be doing that year to fulfill the subject requirements that we're required to make sure families are covering per Maryland law. Now, we don't mandate particular curriculum, and frankly, families are all over the map in terms of what curriculum is used. You can find the big names, you can find a lot of mixtures, people doing all sorts of different things, but we work with families to be able to use curriculum. And then one of the big things that we do is we have a difference between what we call standard courses and non-standard courses. So one of the big benefits of homeschooling is we want families to be able to use the practical life experiences that they're doing and be able to quantify those into courses that they can receive credit for. Now, of course, all that becomes a little more, I guess you could say, precise as we head into high school, but even before that, people are able to do those sorts of things. Probably one of my favorite examples that Gary has shared is we had a family in the program once who they were very involved with horses, and they wanted to do their science for some of their high school students. Were involved, working with the horses, learning about the horses, caring for the horses, etc. And we work with them to come up with a non-standard course called equine biology. We weren't going to call it biology because biology would be a more standard course, but we could call it an equine biology course and therefore receive credit for that course. And I guess I should make a comment. Walkersville requirements as far as in our academy program in order to graduate are 21 credits. And we have a breakdown for those, but basically 4 Bible, 2 math, 2 science, 4 English credits, and then 5 electives. 5 electives and 1 PE credit. So that's the basic minimum to graduate with us, and you can work different ways to make that happen. If we have a student who is very interested or likely on track to go to college, we will be talking with you, we'll be talking with the parents about how to basically plan for that trajectory. You know, the biggest thing that we emphasize is you want to know where you're going so you can plan how to get there. And that brings us a little bit to the NCAA. The NCAA, most of you know, the National, let's see if I get this right, the National Association American National Collegiate, see, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Say it again, go ahead and say it, Gary.
National Collegiate Athletic Association.
Right, so the bottom line is that while we have had students who are interested in playing college level sports, we've had WCFS graduates do that. The primary reason that we're interested in that is that we're required as an institution, educational institution, to keep what Gary mentioned before, customary transcripts. That is, you're keeping transcripts, academic records, in a way that the wider academic community understands. And so what we are trying to do, as especially entities like the NCAA work on beefing up their standards or doing stuff, changing their standards, most colleges and universities are paying attention to that because they want to have students coming to their school who are interested in playing NCAA sports. And regardless whether our students are going to do that, we basically want people to be in the best possible situation to go where they want to go. So for that reason, we ourselves, if we have a family who has a student who is interested in going that track, we're going to say, okay, we're going to work with you to make sure that your courses that your student are taking are going to meet that criteria, so that you're not applying to the University of Maryland and you're hoping to get accepted, and they look at your transcript, and let's say, going back to our example, you have on there that for your biology credit, they look a little different, a little deeper, and they say, well, what did you do for biology? Oh, well, I did equine work. And they say, okay, well, that's fine, but that's not the same as a standard traditional biology course. Oh, so we're not going to accept that as a core credit. The NCAA requires certain core credits or core courses. And there's another distinction to be made, is that you want to make sure you're getting all those core courses together, and so you're going to meet those criteria. So again, we work with families to distinguish between what's a standard course with a non-standard course, and then what's a core course and what's a non-core course. Basically, what will a college look at and accept? Yes, we understand what that is. Okay, that's nice that you did this, but we're not going to accept that as a core course. So that's all part of that program. So again, just real briefly, so when families at the beginning of the year, they send in their course registrations, we go through that sort of thing, see what's going on, and then throughout the remainder of the year, you have 3 more types of reports that you submit. You submit a first semester report around the 1st of February, or end of January, and then you submit a second semester report at the end of June, along with a year-end report. And that those are basically the basis that you keep track of what's going on. Now, the other thing that we do, whether you're in the review program or in the academy program, we meet with you twice a year. We call them portfolio reviews. This is something that is required by Maryland law, that we basically meet with review families. It's basically just making sure that you're providing adequate, regular, thorough instruction in the subjects that are required. That's all we're really concerned about as far as that goes. If you're in our academy program, we're making sure, yes, that you're doing regular, thorough instruction, but also, are you on track to complete a core course, etc., and getting your full credit. So we do that twice a year, and we try to be as flexible as we can with those sorts of things. And these are the kinds of things, again, that an affiliate is going to do. If you are an affiliate with our program, you're going to do all that. You do all that. We don't actually meet with your families or anything like that. You as the affiliate are doing all that work, and then you provide that paperwork to us later, and then we are able to keep track of that and validate that. And then at the end of the year, we have in May, we have a graduation every year. Now, our affiliates, you do not have to participate in our graduation. We have graduation for our own families. Susie talked about how she has a graduation every year with her folks. That's part of the ability to customize and be able to have that personal touch with the people that you're doing. So that's pretty much it. Oh, I should also mention we do have also a mid-years conference in January for our families. We call our mid-years teachers conference. So that's kind of a summary of who we are and what we do, and I think that's it. We're going to turn it over to Gary for one last segment.
Few last seconds.
Thank you, everybody on the panel.
Yes, thank